Hey, what's up YouTube, JayDub here. Before I get started with this video, just like everybody, when you're done watching this video, go over and click the link in the description box to listen to the latest episode of the PWTR show. You don't have to wait until, at 6 p.m. on this day, right after this video is done with. You can go ahead and click over the link and listen to it on archive. I talk about a lot of stuff. I talk about an update on why Mr. Kennedy was released. I talk about TNA, me going to Slammiversary and everything. And also, I guess it would be seen as a controversial thing. I call for the resignation from the post of CEO of WWE, Linda McMahon. I call for her to resign from the post, and possibly even for Vince McMahon to resign as chairman, head of the creative team and everything. So make sure you go check that out. Thanks to all of my 925 subscribers. Even more thanks to the people that rate the videos, comment them, share the videos, favorite them, all of that good stuff. I'm going to be talking about Randy Orton a little bit. I'm going to be talking about Raw a little bit. But if you see the headline of this video, if you see the title, I'm going to be talking about MVP. MVP, I'm going to say it right now, will be, hopefully, at least let me say he should be, a heavyweight champion before this year's end, maybe even sooner than that. MVP, he's been through a lot in his career. He did the whole heel thing. He did it to perfection. He did the arrogant heel, the cocky heel and all that. It worked great. Then he goes on a losing streak. Comes out of the losing streak, people are thinking that he's gonna, shoot into the main event scene because WWE wouldn't humiliate somebody like that, or at least someone the caliber of, MVP's status. They wouldn't humiliate somebody like that to basically, for nothing. But he didn't get propelled to main event status after the losing streak. He turns face and he becomes, an even better character in WWE, a better wrestler. Everything about him just improved when he became a face. He had a new passion, had a new aggression in the ring. Everything was all good. Still didn't get moved into the main event picture. Then he got another United States Championship. Now that takes us to tonight's episode of Raw. He lost the championship to Kofi Kingston. Now, this is kind of making me think that maybe WWE, they're finally thinking that this is the time to move MVP into the heavyweight title picture. When you look at, on one hand, the interaction that he's been having with Randy Orton over these past couple of weeks, since the WWE draft, and him on his first episode of Raw coming out, calling out Randy Orton, challenging him and everything. You take that on one hand, and on the other hand, the release of Mr. Kennedy from the WWE. Mr. Kennedy, he was supposed to be that new face, that, breath of fresh air into the heavyweight title picture. But seeing as he got released, could MVP capitalize off of Mr. Kennedy's release? Maybe they're going to take Mr. Kennedy's push, apply that to MVP. So the first question I want to ask you guys, and you can type your answers in the comment section: will MVP be a world champion before this year's end? Moving on to my second topic of this video, Randy Orton. Randy Orton, every single week, I'm just starting to like him less and less. Like I said on the PWTR, when I was talking about the PWTR show, I talked about how Randy Orton could possibly be at fault for Mr. Kennedy's firing. Supposedly in their match, I actually saw that point in the match where Mr. Kennedy, he goes to do a backdrop on Randy Orton, and you can see that something maybe went wrong in that backdrop, because Randy Orton, he, punching the air and going around, he looked real pissed off. And Randy Orton, we've known that he's had a bad temper about himself, and this was just more evidence that is actually the truth. So they get backstage, and supposedly they had, a couple of words with each other, and Randy Orton was saying, you know what, you can't be out there injuring people, and you could have taken me out and everything. You need to be more careful and everything. So a couple of days later, Mr. Kennedy gets released. So that got me to think, Randy, he's a WWE champion. It's been said that he has a lot of pull in the company. Did Randy Orton get Mr. Kennedy fired? Was he the reason that Mr. Kennedy got released? People talk about Triple H, how he's a backstage politician. Could you add Randy Orton to that list now? Is Randy Orton the latest backstage politician in WWE? That's the second question I want to ask you guys, because you take this situation where he's pissed off at Mr. Kennedy, then out of nowhere Mr. Kennedy gets released, and you take the Manu situation where it was reported that Randy Orton was the reason Manu got released, and or at least he had something to do with it. I'm not going to fully blame him for it, but it was reported that at least he had something to do with it. So, and that's another thing. After he got released, Randy Orton just went on the interviews and just totally trashed him. I'm looking like, you maybe have cost the man his job. Isn't that enough? Why don't you just leave it at that? But yeah. Anyway, Randy Orton, he's looked at so highly by people and everything. Randy Orton, he's just the heel version of John Cena. A lot of people call for John Cena to turn heel. Randy Orton basically is the heel version of John Cena. Delivers a good promo, but can't wrestle worth a damn. That's basically what you got right there. But yeah, so second question, has Randy Orton become the latest backstage politician in WWE? Moving on to this episode of Raw, I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Starts out Randy Orton with his legacy in a steel cage. Randy Orton flips a coin to see who Batista will face tonight in a steel cage. Cody wins the coin toss. Then Cody says, "Cage matches are in my blood." And he tells Randy Orton, "Don't worry, cage matches are in my blood." That started me to thinking. Last time I saw Cody Rhodes in a steel cage, he absolutely got his ass kicked, got his ass handed to him by Triple H. So, yeah, if that's the example of cage matches in your blood, I wouldn't too much rely on him. But, yeah, as the night goes on, first match tonight, steel cage, Batista versus Cody Rhodes. Batista ends up winning. I didn't like this match at all because Batista was basically toying around with Cody Rhodes, wasn't even engaging with him at all in the beginning of the match. Second match tonight, Beth Phoenix and Maryse defeat Kelly and Mikie James. Typical Divas match. Moving on. Third match tonight, Carlito and Primo versus Matt Hardy and William Regal. This was a pretty good match. When Carlito and Matt Hardy, when they were in the ring, they were like the highlights of the match for me. Fourth match tonight, John Cena and Chavo Guerrero versus The Miz and Big Show. Typical John Cena match. Gets his ass kicked, hits the shoulder block. You can't see me. Just typical stuff. He goes to do the ST fail on the Big Show, and he fails. But Chavo Guerrero ends up getting the pin for his team. The Big Show knocks out The Miz, and the Big Show also, knocked out John Cena. Chavo Guerrero ends up getting the win for his team. Fifth match tonight, Vickie Guerrero versus Santino. This was a very, very, very weird match. What the hell are their names? Matt Hardy and William Regal run out to get the, get the save for Vickie. Santino throws like pig slop all over them. Throws a bucket of pig slop like everywhere. Gets on the cameras. Everywhere. So then Santino gets laid out. They turn him over. Vickie goes to get another bucket of pig slop and starts pouring it on Santino's crotch. And I'm like, what the hell type of freaky stuff is going on? And she deliberately poured it on his crotch. Then she pours it on his face. Then pours it everywhere. Whatever. And earlier on in the night, Ric Flair called out Randy Orton. Randy Orton accepted the challenge for a street fight. They started fighting backstage and everything. It comes up onto the stage, brawling and everything. Randy Orton gets cut open, somehow bleeding and everything. They make their way to the ring, get into a steel cage. Batista comes out, but it's too late because they're locked in the cage, and Randy Orton just totally decimates Ric Flair. That was the end of this episode of Raw. It was a pretty good episode of Raw, and I won't say pretty good. I'll say good, but it was a lot better than than that joke last week, and a lot better than that horrible show before that. But the three comment questions I want you guys to answer: one, will MVP be a heavyweight champion for 4 years? And two, has Randy Orton become the latest backstage politician in WWE? And three, Vickie or Santina? You know, whatever you want the subject to be. You know, you guys take that, you know, be creative with it and everything. And yeah, that's where I'll end this video. Peace out.